Hello and welcome to the very first edition of Sadler's TV. We're here inside the very lavish 1888 lounge at the Banksy Stadium and have two very special guests with me to get our teeth into a host of topics surrounding Walsall Football Club. First and foremost, the manager approaching his fifth year at the helm of the club, Dean Smith. Dean, glad to have you with us. And alongside him, the man with the strongest beard game the club have ever seen. It's the Sadler's skipper, Adam Chambers. Adam, good to have you with us as well. Dean, if I could start with you. First and foremost, how much are you looking forward to the new campaign?
No, really looking forward to it. We've had a decent pre-season so far, very few injuries, which is always pleasing, and I'm just hopeful now that I can come to August the 8th with a fully fit squad to choose from. We've had some really good games, tough opposition, and the lads have worked really hard, so really looking forward to it now. At
this point in the season, as you're approaching the new league campaign, is promotion always the aim?
Oh yeah, well, I think you're silly if you don't. That should be every professional's ambition, and our aim this season is to finish first. And I think we've got enough in the dressing room to go and do that. There's things we need to improve on from last season. The goal tally being one, turning draws into wins. But we've also spoke about becoming a more entertaining team and a more exciting team to watch. And hopefully we can do that, and that will push us up the league and have us competing with some of the bigger teams in the league.
Like you say, we've had some very testing friendlies. You think back to the Wolves one behind closed doors, Aston Villa down here as well, and West Brom and Derby. How do you think the boys have coped with that challenge?
We've coped really well because in none of the teams, in none of the games that we've played, I've picked a team what I think is going to start this season. So it's the good part about it is in all them games when we've mixed the teams around and put younger players on, none of them have looked out of place. So they're all challenging for the first team positions at the moment, and that's a pleasing aspect for me.
Adam, I won't mention how many pre-seasons you've had down the years, but from a player's point of view, how have you found the preparations for the new season this year?
Yeah, it's been very good. All the lads came back first day looking very fit and sharp. We had a closed season programme that we got given from John Whitney. Looks like all the lads have followed that to the T and so come back just raring to go. Obviously, as the years go by, pre-seasons change and see a bit more technology, a lot more obviously heart rate belts and GPRS to track what you're doing and how far you're running and how hard you're working. So things have changed quite a bit, but this year we've been looking really good, and like I say, the lads are looking fit and strong.
How much of that is down to what the players do outside of the football club during those weeks off during the off season? Yeah,
again, days gone by, you didn't really have to do too much. You was expected to come back, and pre-season was to get you fit. Over the last few years, it's a case of you need to come back raring to go, and then you can get the ball out a lot sooner and start working on your technical side of the game as well. So it's important nowadays that you really look after yourself in the close season.
And with James moving on to pastures new during the off season, you're the only Chambers at the club, and everyone will recognise you as Adam this time around.
Well, yeah, obviously it does help. Obviously,
he didn't need to grow the beard then, did he? Really?
There you go.
Yeah. Everyone's obviously makes it a lot easier for everyone without him here. Obviously, to get my name right, apart from Tom Bradley, the kit man, he still seems to call me James from time to time, but I think that's just to wind me up. I think.
Dean, talking of pre-season, how different is it nowadays to when you were playing and the players check back in to try and shed the pounds that they'd gained during the off-season?
It's very different. The game's moved on, and I think professional footballers now need to be professional athletes as well, because the game's quickened up, and the players need to be as fit as they can to go and compete in it. And I think and I know I'm biased that we've got one of the best in terms of sports science and fitness and conditioning, John Whitney, and the programme he gave them during the closed season enabled them to come back in the fitness levels that we needed them to be able to move on quite quickly. And I think that was one of the pleasing things in all the games that we've played. We've finished quite strong in every game, which just shows that we're in a good shape at the moment, and that will certainly help us in the long term.
Do you think attitudes have changed towards pre-season in general across
Yeah, totally. For me, when I was playing, pre-season was about getting a few pounds off and getting ready for the first game of the season. And now, as Adam said, it's different. It's about coming back fit and being ready to start straight away. And I think we play a game within 10 10 days. That wouldn't have happened years ago. You'd have been 3 weeks before you'd have got a game. And, it enabled us as well to go away to Wales for a couple of days and get away from it, get away from the ball, do a bit of canoeing and jumping into waterfalls halfway up Snowdonia, which I'm sure Adam enjoyed.
Yeah.
But it was good to, get them out of, the normal environment.
On that trip to Wales, it's almost a good trip for the new players that have joined the ranks as well. Tell us a little bit about the players that you brought into the club.
Yeah, it enables them to get to know other players within the team. There's not been too many. Neil Everidge has come in. I spoke to a number of goalkeepers, and he was one that really impressed me. And he was at Charlton last season. Spent a lot of time at Fulham. He's got potential to be a really, really top goalkeeper for us, and his shot stopping is very good. And I always say this: it should be the goalkeepers, but he knows that he wants to get better, and the potential there is very good. And with Neil Cutler, who we believe is a really good goalkeeping coach, we can get the best out of him, as we did with Richard O'Donnell, and we believe that potential could be better than Richard. So hopefully he'll come in and do a really good job. He's really good personality. He's seen the pitfalls, I should say, of being in the Premier League and being a number 2 to big name goalkeeper, and not quite making it, and being left not on the scrap heap, but wondering where the career is going, and now he wants to put that right and do well here, and then hopefully get us into the Championship, or certainly move himself on. And then Jason Demetrio, we both know Jason because I worked with him at Orient first, as he was in my youth team when I was youth team manager, and then in the first team when I was assistant manager. And he's been in Cyprus for 4 years. Adam tells him he's been on holiday for 4 years in Cyprus. But he went there because he wanted to go and play international football, and he earned good money out there, and got into the first team. But I like his desire and his hunger to come back here and want to get better again, and his love of the English game had never diminished, and he wanted to get back into the dressing room and prove to people that he can still come and play in England at a high level.
Milan as well, coming back to the club, all the fans that have seen him before. Is it just about getting consistency out of Milan Lalkovic?
Yeah, I mean, his potential is frightening as well. We can all see what he can do on the ball. At times he just make better decisions, and it's that fine art of making good decisions most of the time. And if he does that, then there's another player that's going to score a lot of goals for us this season and create a lot as well. We had him when he was on loan from Chelsea. The difference now is that he's our player, and we can fully invest in him, and I'm looking forward to working with him again.
Ad, how much, from a player's point of view, does it help having that settled squad from one season to the next? Not too many changes, but just a few additions that are going to help the team.
Yeah, well, obviously it does help. Over the years there has been a few comings and goings, but obviously the majority of the lads know how the gaffer works, how Richard O'Kelly and John Whitney work as well, so it just helps to get into that flow straight from the start of pre-season. And like I say, it's a lot easier for the new lads to get to grips with it as well. They see that everybody else knows what they're doing, and the lads that have been there a while can help them along as well. So it does help if you can keep the squad settled.
And touch wood, there hasn't been too many injuries up to now. We're counting down the days to the new season. It's a little different to how things were this time last season, when we started off almost John Whitney's physio room was almost full to the brim this time last year.
Yeah, since I've been here, never really had many issues with injuries apart from last pre-season. I'm not sure why that was, but they all seem to come at once, and obviously leading to the season, it's not great when your squad's depleted early on, so this year we're looking a lot better, and say touch wood, hopefully the gaffer has a fully fit squad to choose from the first game.
How much does that help with building momentum early on in the season?
Oh, massively. If you've got a fully fit squad to choose from, then people know that they're going to have to work very hard to get into the team. As Adam said, last pre-season we had a lot of injuries early. Ben Perkins, I remember, on the pre-season tour at Exeter, and Jordan Cook broke his ankle. And then we missed Jim O'Connor, and James Chambers was out with a hamstring as well. So we missed a lot of players at the early part of last season, and we was always playing catch up a little bit. But now there's a lot of choice within the squad, good players to choose from, and it's going to be tough to pick a team for that first league game. but it means that I'll be leaving good players out, and that can only bode well for the season ahead.
Yeah, just how healthy is that for the club? The fact that you look at every position now all across the park and there's competition for places.
Very healthy, and that's what you want as a manager. You want to be choosing from a good pool of players. You know, the art of my skills is going to be now keeping the players happy who aren't playing. Like that will be at any football club. You'll pick an 11 that you believe that's going to win the game, but you know, you don't forget about the other players because they'll be important throughout that season as well.
We'll touch upon our opponents going into the new season, both up from the Championship or down from the Championship, up from League Two in a few moments' time. We're going to take a short break here on Saddlers TV. Join us in a few moments' time where we take a closer look at the runners and riders in this year's League One campaign. Welcome back to Saddlers TV. I'm with Adam Chambers and Dean Smith. Adam, if I could start with you this time. Looking back on last year, putting the Johnson's Paint Trophy aside, how tough a division is League One?
It's always been a tough division, you know, and it gets tougher every year. But last year it was a bit in and out, you know. We've had some good spells, we've gotten decent runs, and again we've had the inconsistency that's meant we haven't quite finished where we wanted to, you know. That's something that we need to work on this season going forward, is that consistency and not get into those bad runs of form that see us sort of drop away from the playoffs. Something we're looking to focus on this season.
Ended with a 14th place finish, a point off better than the previous season. What would represent progression this time around?
Well, like we said before, like at the start of every season we look to be finishing the top 6 at least, you know, looking for promotion. Talent we have in the squad, I see no reason why that can't be achieved. You know, it's just that consistency, like I said before, that we need to work on. Obviously, we've got a young squad, you know, and sometimes with that you do find little bits of inconsistency. But again, we've shown throughout the last few seasons, the players we have here, that are capable of competing against the best in the division. And again, I see no reason why it won't be the same this year.
And Dean, is it about picking up points when you're not playing so well?
Yeah, that's always important. You know, you can't always go out there and perform to the best. Although you'll go and try. Performances are what's important, because when you get good performances, you normally get good results. But it's important that when you're not playing so well, that you're difficult to beat, and you take chances that come your way. You know, there's plenty of games that we've played in and dominated games and not won them. So it's nice every now and again if you're not playing so well, you win the games as well.
Obviously, Bristol City, Preston and MK Dons are 3 teams to go up. What did they have in common? Is there something that's across the board that breeds success for those 3?
For me, I thought they were the 3 best teams in the league. Most consistent, scored goals. You know, you only have to look. They were probably the 3 top goal scorers in the league. You know, Joel Garner scored a lot of goals for Preston. Afobe, Grigg scored goals for MK Dons. And Bristol City, they shared a lot of goals around. You know, the centre half scored 12, 14 goals, something like that. You know, so you know it's you have to have goals within the team to be successful, and you know that's what we're trying to do as well this season.
Yeah, you talk about goals, and Tom Bradshaw was obviously a bright spark for us last season. But are you looking for goals from other areas of the pitch as well?
Yeah, definitely, because he'll be a mark man. People know a lot more about Tom than they did last season. Although, again, I'm probably a little bit biased, but I think he's better now. He's better than he was last season. He looks fitter, he looks stronger, and I think he'll score goals again. But we've got a lot of attacking options that I believe, you know, Jordan Cook missed pre-season last year, and I think if we'd have had him fully fit from the start of the season, he'd have certainly scored double figures last year. You know, we've got Milan Lalkovic we spoke about. Kieran Morris has come back and from his loan spell at Wrexham, and he looks a totally different animal now in terms of how he plays and handles himself, and there'll be goals from him. James Baxendale's been bright during pre-season. Romain Sawyers knows that he's got to score more goals, and you know, we've got to score certainly from central defence, from corners, and from central midfield. Although I don't hold too much hope for the boy next to me.
Well, you say that.
He does try.
You say that. I'm sure you found the back of the net in one of the pre-season friendlies, didn't you, Ed?
I did, yeah. But it's something I need to add to my game. Obviously, been a bit of a barren spell the last couple of years, you know. So it's something.
Barren, you're in a desert.
Well, like the gaffer said, we need to be chipping from all areas, you know. We all know that. Obviously, last year Bradders was was the man to go to for goals, obviously, but we need to be helping him out. We can't be relying on him to score goals every game. We need to chip in it from everywhere else, like Gaffer said.
A lot of people put emphasis on formations and how teams set up, but we have tried a few different formations, certainly during this pre-season. Is that something you look to carry forward into the League One?
Yeah, definitely. But we did last year, and often people don't see that you're trying different formations. But we tried an awful lot of different formations last year. We tried a diamond. We tried 4-3-3. Just to try and go and win football games by doing something different. And what didn't help us was we never had a fully fit squad to choose from until probably the last 10 games of the season. So it was a difficult season last year, but we had some successes, and we never really felt there was any danger from relegation. We flirted with it, but we also flirted with the playoffs as well. So it's we'll look to try different formations, that's for sure. But for me, it's always been about players. If players are performing, you win games. Whatever formation you're playing. If the players are on the top of their game, formation then really doesn't matter. It's about how you're playing.
Looking at the new additions to the league, up from League Two, Burton, Shrewsbury, Southend, Bury, Blackpool, Wigan and Millwall dropping down. It's got the makings of another tough league, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it always will be. And some of the teams within the league as well have got stronger. Sheffield United got Nigel Adkins in charge now, who's got a reputation for getting teams out of this league. He's done so with Southampton and Scunthorpe. So we'll go in and organise and certainly make Sheffield United a force this season. They're a big club who've been in this league a lot longer than they would expect to be. So the teams in the league will have got stronger. We certainly have. The teams who are coming down, Millwall and Wigan, will both be strong, but they've got new managers in Neil Harris and Gary Caldwell, and it's a tough league for a new manager to come into and to know it straight away. So, I know Wigan are having a go, certainly with a lot of the parachute money they got from the Premier League and spending that. But it'll be interesting to see how they go. In terms of Blackpool, I think nobody knows what's happening there at the moment. It all seems to be up in the air. And the teams who are coming up, they'll certainly have a go. I know Shrewsbury have had a go, Bury have had a go already in the market, bringing players in. Shrewsbury were very good last year. We played them twice in the FA Cup as well, and a much improved team than there was the season before that. And Burton, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's gone in there and continued what they had under the previous manager. And Southend will meet, our first away game. Went up through the playoffs on penalties. And Phil Brown would be really chuffed. I was at a golf tournament with him in the summer, and he was looking forward to it and saying how hard League Two was, but really looking forward to League One. So I think it'll be a close league this next year. I mean, I know last season was very close, but for me the top three went up. But this season I think there's a number of teams that will fancy the chances.
And we've seen that it's not simply about budget and who's got the biggest budget. We look at some of the sides last year who perhaps struggled with the bigger budgets in the division. It doesn't guarantee success, does it?
No, and I think that's something that we never use as an excuse, or it's not about budgets. And if it was about budgets, we would have given up a long time ago, because it'd be silly to think that a team like Walsall could go and compete with a team like Bristol City financially, because you can't. It's impossible. But what we believe in is a philosophy that we have, a belief in players that we bring here and bring through, and their personalities and the behavioural traits are important in what we bring in here, because that team spirit and unity and the togetherness of the staff at the football club, and that's the office staff included, and the supporters, is a thing that will help us in the long run.
And as one of the more senior members of the squad, how encouraged are you by the clutch of young players that we've got coming through this year? You look already during pre-season, the performances of Rico Henry, Reece Flanagan, Matt Preston. There's some real standout talents that we've got at the club.
That's the thing. Obviously, they had a few of them had a little taste last season. Another year older and the year wiser, and obviously the training that we've been doing, they've been taking that on board, and they're all looking very strong, And since the first day I stepped foot in the club, they've always had like a good clutch of young players looking to break through and show what they can do. And it's one of those clubs where we're always going to have to try and bring through those young players and give them their chance. And shown over the last few years that if they get their chance, then obviously they can do their thing for the club here, and obviously get themselves moves as well. You look at obviously Jamie Patterson and Will Grigg. But it's always amazed me, like the talent that's at the club. You know, it's some very good young players that are going to have bright futures.
And Dean, you've already mentioned that it's a big year for some of these players.
Yeah, massive year, because I think years ago you looked at it, and it was funny, we were talking to Tony Pulis about it. At 17 or 18, you needed to be ready to go and play first team football. I think we probably give them a little bit longer now, don't we? 19, 20. But if they're not pushing for the first team squad by the time they get to that age, then I don't think they're going to make the football club that they're at. And I think that's the stage where we're at now, and these players know that. They've had a couple of years as a pro, and now it's important that they're pushing for the team now. So for us, it's important that they come through. But for them, it's about their careers, their livelihoods, and they understand that importance.
Just very briefly, how difficult is bridging that gap between development and first team?
I think we do really well here. I know there's a bit of a black hole within the academy system at Premier League level between 18 to 21, but here we try and get them out very early and play men's football. A number of the players you've mentioned, Reece Flanagan's been out on loan, Matt Preston's been out on loan, Liam Roberts has been out on loan, and they've gone non-league and played men's football, and it's massively important that they go and do that and understand what it's all about.
Well, thanks ever so much, Dean, for joining us, and to you, Adam. That's all we've got time for this edition of Saddlers TV. Of course, you can keep up to date with all the goings on at the club across our social media channels and saddlers.co.uk. Bye-bye for now.